What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers are an absolute dumpster fire right now. I mean, they're not even competitive. I mean, they're losing by an average of 20 points a game in the last 6 out of 8 games. They've lost 6 out of 8 games. Since that Orlando game, they have just been getting blown out literally regularly. The team, there's all this talk about lack of effort and all that. I don't think it's a lack of effort. I said this. I think it's just a lack of talent. I just don't think this team is talented enough. You don't have athletes. You don't have the personnel that you can count on a nightly basis, right? D'Angelo Russell, if he doesn't show up and he's not shooting well, he's unplayable. Austin Reeves, if he's not shooting well, he's unplayable, right? He's not great on ball. He's not a great playmaker. He can make plays, but he's not a great playmaker. He turns the ball over. He doesn't handle ball pressure well. Lakers are one of the worst teams in the league in regards to ball pressure. And guess who's on the ball has the highest usage rate of his career thus far? Austin Reeves, right? Like, it's a problem. Rui Hachimura. I love Rui. He's played out of position because LeBron James is on this team, and he's not athletic. He can't move his feet. He's, a liability out there more times than not, unless he's shooting the lights out. And the problem is you don't know what games, right? Lakers can win a game on occasion because, on a random night, Rui can give you, 20, or Reeves will give you 20, 25, or D'Lo will give you 20, 25, right? Connect goes off for 37, whatever, right? But more often than not, it takes LeBron James and Anthony Davis to give you 60 just for you to have a chance. Even the games we are winning, we're barely winning. We should have lost to Utah, right? We should have lost 7 out of 8, but we squeaked out that win. This team is just, they don't have the athleticism. They don't have the players. They don't have the personnel, right? Like, you look at a lot of these teams, when they're struggling and they can't hit shots and, the game's just not going their way. What do a lot of these teams rely on? Their athleticism. They get out in transition, right? They can defend. They can move their feet. They take shots. They can track down loose balls, win those 50-50 balls. D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and Rui Hachimura aren't beating anybody to basketballs. They're not quick enough. They're not athletic enough. Every 50-50 ball, Lakers lose. Why? Because they don't have the athletes. They don't have the personnel. You look at the team, like, people talk about, the 2020 roster, right? You need two-way guys. Yeah, you definitely need two-way guys, without a doubt. But you also had guys that were athletic. KCP is athletic. He can move his feet. He can defend, right? He can defend multiple positions. Kyle Kuzma, athletic, defend multiple positions. Avery Bradley, Rajon Rondo. Like, you had guys, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, right? Like, you had guys that were athletic, that could do different things. When the Lakers offense wasn't cooking the way you needed it to, guess what? You had guys that could, were athletic. Like, all of our athletes are either one-dimensional or hurt or whatever, right? Like, Jared Vanderbilt helps and solves a lot, but is he ever going to see the basketball court? It's a problem. But I get asked regularly, Tyler, if this team is so bad and we don't have talent, we don't have this, that, and the other, right? Like, is this fixable? Can we fix this? Absolutely, right? Don't underestimate the value of a trade. It doesn't take, because this is basketball, right? One guy by themselves can make a huge difference. You start getting 2-3 guys, you can completely change the landscape of your team. You can change the vibe in the locker room, right? Different mentalities, right? Like, even things like, like against Denver, right? You get a couple guys, you get Dorian Finney-Smith and a Cam Johnson and whatever, Dennis Schroeder and a Day'Ron Sharpe. Like, you get a couple guys. They haven't been part of what Dennis Schroeder has, but, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Day'Ron Sharpe, these guys, they haven't been part of the Denver mental games where the Lakers just can't overcome them. Like, they don't care. They're like, man, we've beaten Denver, right? Like, we're not worried about Denver, right? We're here now, right? Like, you get some real athletes. One guy, I don't believe, fixes everything, right? Like, if you go get a Cam Johnson, or even if, like, I've talked about Zach LaVine, I'm a big Zach LaVine guy, right? Even Zach LaVine by himself makes us better, but it doesn't make us a contender by himself. You need Zach LaVine, you get a Dorian Finney-Smith, and then like a Day'Ron Sharpe. Now I think you're a contender, right? You got that real ceiling raiser, you got a 3-and-D wing, you got a backup center, right? You can have the impact. Look at, for examples, right? Last season, Dallas. Dallas was a disaster early on. right? There was talks about Kyrie, Luka. They're not working. It's just, they missed the play-in last season. Are they going to miss the play-in again this season? And then Derrick Jones Jr. had his emergence. And then they go and they trade for P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford. And it changed everything for that team. Everything. Right? Literally 2 guys changed everything. And then, Derrick Jones Jr. kind of getting his own defensively. So let's call it 3 guys. Completely changed the landscape for Dallas. Next thing you know, they're in the finals. Right? The Lakers a couple seasons ago, right? We go and we traded for several guys, but really it was only 2 guys that were really impactful. Right? It was D'Angelo Russell and Jared Vanderbilt. And then you also ended up getting, in Rui Hachimura, but he was hot and cold at times, right? Until the playoffs. In the playoffs, he was really good. But, he came to the team, he got benched, right, for a good stretch, and then got back in the lineup, and it was just, he had his hot and cold moments, but, right, you ended up getting Rui Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell, and Jared Vanderbilt. Completely changed the landscape of this team. Next thing you know, they're in the conference finals. Right? Like, things like that. Austin Reeves and his emergence helped, right? All of a sudden, you get a couple pieces. Lakers, I think, need either one higher-end guy, a Brandon Ingram, a Zach LaVine, something like that, or they need, 3 or 4, mid-tier guys, right? Like, you get, a Dorian Finney-Smith, a Day'Ron Sharpe, a Dennis Schroeder, and, whatever. It's some, random guy, right? Now I think collectively those guys can make a big enough. You get some athletes, you get some athletic, or like a Bruce Brown, let's say, right? Now you got some athletes, you got some defense, right? You got some versatile guys. You're in good shape. Or if you can get, like I said, a Zach LaVine, a Dorian Finney-Smith, and a Day'Ron Sharpe, or a Brandon Ingram, a Dorian Finney-Smith, and a Day'Ron Sharpe. Now you got some real athletes. You got a backup center. You filled a lot of your needs. You got a guy that can go and just take over games on any given night. Can be your, second or first option, right? If they're really cooking. And, worst case, they're your third option. But on a nightly basis who's going to show up. That's the problem the Lakers have right now. You don't know who's showing up on a nightly basis. You don't know who you can count on any given night. Right? You don't know, can I count on Austin Reeves? Is Austin Reeves going to give me 18 tonight, or is he going to give me 8? Is D'Lo going to give me 18 tonight, or is he going to give me 8? Is Rui going to give me 18 tonight, or is he going to give me 8? Right? You don't know what you're getting. If you get a guy like a Zach LaVine, or you get a guy like a Brandon Ingram, even on a bad night, they're giving you 15. Right? Even on a bad night, they're producing, they're giving you something, and they can impact the game in other ways. They're not, even if they are having a bad night, you're not worried about them affecting the game in other ways. Right? That's the problem. Or, like I said, if you get 3 or 4 guys that can impact the game in other ways, all of a sudden you're there. It also drops guys down in the pecking order. Right? You get a Brandon Ingram. You get a Dorian Finney-Smith and a Day'Ron Sharpe, or a Zach LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, Day'Ron Sharpe, right? Get that guy. Well, now Austin Reeves isn't your third guy anymore. Could you imagine Brandon Ingram in the Austin Reeves role? Could you imagine Zach LaVine in the Austin Reeves role? That alone makes us probably twice as good. Because they're just better players than Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is good. He's a good role player, but that's what he is. He's a role player. Right? He's not the guy we thought he was, 2 seasons ago. There's been a larger, almost double sample size that this is who Reeves is. Right? But now, instead of your third option, he's your 4th or your 5th, depending on, the pieces that you get. Well, now it's not as impactful if he has a bad night. If he has a bad night, you can still win those games. All the games where he's great, you're probably winning all of them. Right? Same thing with Dalton Connect. He's a rookie. He's going to have his good games. He's going to have his bad games. Right? He's on a bad stretch right now. But when you need him to be your 4th guy, it's a lot different than when you need him to be your 7th guy or your 6th, 7th, 8th guy. Right? It's a big difference. So it also drops guys down the pecking order. Right? Drops guys down the totem pole. So that way, you're just a better overall team. So, again, don't underestimate the value. But the Lakers need to get LeBron James and Anthony Davis some help. They do. Problem is, I don't want to see a trade just for a trade. You can't panic trade. And it's frustrating. The fan in me is as frustrated as the rest of you. Believe me. Right? There's a huge part of me that's like, give up whatever you got to do. Get it done. But Teams know that. Teams are going to fleece. The asking prices are insane. You give up both your first for, Cam Johnson and Day'Ron Sharpe. Like, yeah, you're better, but you're not that much better, right? Like, you're not a contender. You're not a top team. Yeah, you're probably, a legit playoff team at that point, but you're not where you need to be. So it's incredibly frustrating. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how time plays out. Patience is key. As hard as it is to be patient, as frustrating as it is to just see this team getting blown out every night, because of this thing, they're not even competitive. It's not even close. It's incredible. It's frustrating, right? Like watching this team every single night just lose by 40. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Right? Do you agree? Do you think, like, yes, get the right trade, the right pieces, you can turn this around? Again, it's basketball, right? It's what I want to get across. Most sports, one guy, yeah, it doesn't change the difference. Doesn't really change much. Unless it's like, football and it's an elite quarterback or something. Basketball, even a role guy can make a huge difference. You get the right role guy. I mean, to this day, we're like, man, we really could use an Alex Caruso or a KCP. You hear it all the time. Man, imagine if Alex Caruso was on this team. Why? Because he's so impactful. I mean, Jared Vanderbilt, right? People are like, man, Jared Vanderbilt. Like, even haters are like, man, if Jared Vanderbilt was there, right? Like, it's because he's so impactful. Like, one guy can make a difference. Jared Vanderbilt by himself make the Lakers the best team in the league? No. Right? But, he can make you better. Right? We're better with Jared Vanderbilt at the top than without. And that's not a star. That's not a superstar, nothing. Now, imagine if you went and got, like I said, a Brandon Ingram or a Zach LaVine. Imagine the impact that guy would give you. Right now, you're, maybe a top, 7 team at that point, and then you add in a Dorian Finney-Smith. Okay, now you're top, 5 team. Okay, you add in Day'Ron Sharpe. Okay, maybe now you're top 3 team, right? Not that Day'Ron Sharpe is so good but it's the collective, right? It's the, again, like the pecking order, all the things that I mentioned, right? Like, it's the group rather than just like the individual. But anyway, again, I feel whatever your thoughts are. I love to hear it out of the way, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out, as we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.